Welcome to Right on Track, a songwriting podcast. Thanks to Tone for tuning in. I'm Demi Michelle Schwartz, and I'm thrilled you're joining me on my songwriting journey. So kick back and relax, don't fall flat, and remember, stay right on track. Welcome back to Right on Track. Joining me on the show today is a special guest from across the pond. Please welcome Lucy Kitchen. Hi, Lucy.
Hi there, Demi.
How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
Amazing. I'm super excited to have you on the show. We have lots to chat about today. But first, I would love for you to share a little about yourself and your journey in music so far.
So I'm a kind of folk and Americana singer-songwriter based in the UK. I've released 2 albums and a live EP on my record label, Bohemia Rose Records, and I have a new album that will be coming out early next year. So I tend to blend a lot of kind of 70s singer-songwriter vibes with a little bit of English folk and a little bit of sometimes slightly more country vibes.
Amazing. I love how you have 2 albums and an EP and you're working on a new project because I'm in the exact same boat. I have 2 albums out, an EP, and I'm going to be releasing an EP early next year. So we're like really similar. Awesome. So I want to first chat about songwriting. So I read that you really draw on themes of loss and resilience in your music. So can you speak a little about this?
Yes, for sure. My husband died 3 years ago in October, it'll be from cancer. And I've always written quite personal songs. So a lot of that comes through. And I talk about obviously the experience of losing him, but also the experience of trying to re-find myself and how you kind of transform through the grief. So that's kind of been quite a theme for a little while, obviously just because of what I've gone through and because I tend to write quite personally. Um, so yeah, I'm I'm all about the connection. Everyone's going to experience some loss at some point in their life, so why hide it?
Yeah, for sure. I'm so sorry to hear that. And thank you for being so vulnerable. I think that a lot of people can for sure relate to what you just said. And from the songwriter perspective, do you find it difficult to open up that way in your music, or is it more of a healing process for you?
I think it's more of a healing process, really. I don't find it hard to open up, but I think that's because I've always been quite open in how I write about myself and my feelings anyway. So it just kind of continues from that. I think there's some songs I've written that I probably will never do anything with because they're probably just a little bit harder and maybe harder to listen to. I also kind of try within the songs to have I kind of feel like even the ones that are really sad, there's always a little something because I'm quite a positive person. So even though this has happened to me and I've lost my husband, I kind of still feel like I have a lot ahead of me and a lot that I want to do and experience. And so within the songs, I think there's always at least a line or two, which is kind of holding on to the fact that I still have hope for my future and what I'm going to do and experience.
Yeah, it's amazing. I absolutely love that. And I'm curious if you have any advice for songwriters listening who maybe have been through something or they're just experiencing difficult emotions and they want to get that out in their music, but they're maybe struggling to translate that into words or afraid to be vulnerable in their music. Do you have any advice for them?
I mean, I think there's different ways of approaching it. So some of the songs I write are quite a metaphor, and that can be really helpful if you don't want to just like really clearly spell it out in black and white. So using imagery can be a really nice thing to do. I also kind of think it's kind of working out some songs you write for yourself and some you write and you know there'll be ones that you perform. And it's kind of playing with both and then also being prepared to maybe change things if you write something and it feels like it's too vulnerable and you would never perform it but you love the melody so you feel like you might want to be able to do something with it. Can you tweak it? Can you change just a little bit so that it just feels slightly less intense for you, particularly if you're going to perform it yourself?
A lot of perfect advice. I especially loved what you said about imagery and metaphors. I personally love to use a lot of sensory language and imagery and metaphors in my music. And A lot of my favorite songs are like that too. And I think the cool thing is, even if you're talking about something super vulnerable and personal to you, if you're not extremely direct in the song and you write the lyrics with a lot of imagery and metaphors, it opens the door for interpretation. And so listeners will hear that song and hear the metaphors and kind of make their own interpretation themselves, which I think can release some of the pressure versus writing a song that's extremely conversational and direct, where you're literally telling the listener, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling. I think the metaphors and similes and imagery can definitely mask that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Amazing. So I would love to chat about your new single, Red Skies. Can you share the inspiration behind this?
So I wrote this when I was sat at a traffic light in Southampton. Southampton's quite a big city in the UK, but it has just millions of traffic lights. It's a nightmare. And I sat at a light for so long, and it was one of those lovely, lovely evenings where it was like June and it was warm and the swifts were flying, and you just feel like, oh, I just really feel like I could just go out and see what happens and have like a night out, and kind of that sense of like wanting to just head out into the night and see where it takes you.
I love that. I love the uplifting message tied to that. Is there anything specifically you hope listeners take away when they listen to the song?
I mean, I think it's just like it's quite. I feel like for me, it's one of my more upbeat ones, and I like the idea of just kind of catching a vibe and just feeling really spontaneous, and a little bit reckless. So I kind of feel like going with that. It's a fun thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. Do you have any fun memories from recording this song?
This one we almost didn't record, to be honest, because so it was like an extra one that I'd put on the list to record with the album, and then we were doing it, and it was just so much fun. And then Tally, who was kind of co-producing with me, he was like, "But is it going too country, Lucy? And should we like try and like change it?" And I was like, "No, we should just go with it because it feels really good. We should just like run with it." And then it just came out really nice. And he actually, at the end, he was like, "I think that actually is my favorite song from the whole session." And it was just great. Everyone loved it.
Oh, I love that. I definitely think those really special moments are when you're in the studio and you're recording a song and it just feels natural and it feels right. Like those are
Yeah.
always the best songs. So super great you got to experience that with this one. So you did mention your album, and I know you're working on another one, hopefully to release early next year. How far along are you in that process?
So it's pretty much already. So the music is done, and so it's just like the last bits on the artwork and stuff now. So I'm really excited about it because it's like 11 songs and they're done.
That's so exciting. Well, I'm super excited to hear the whole thing once it's out.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So another thing I wanted to chat with you about is your poetry collection, which I think is super cool. Along with being a songwriter, I'm an author too. So I love this. What inspired you to do your own poetry collection?
I think when my husband was sick, I was finding it really hard to write whole songs because there's kind of that pressure to have something that fits with the music and it's got to be a bit longer. And there was a lot to it. And I just didn't have the kind of headspace for it. But I really wanted to keep writing. And I think being able to express yourself through like a little flow is really helpful, particularly when things feel quite intense. So I started writing these like mini poems, and often they're like 4 lines long. And I used to say they came out in like a splurge, and then that was kind of it. And some of them they just really captured something, and so some of them became a bit longer. A couple of them have become songs that are going to be on the album. But it was like it became like almost like a practice just to keep myself writing, but just keeping it really unpressured and keeping it really small. So I've got quite a lot of poems. So I'm trying to like compile them and work out which ones I would include and what kind of order for the narrative. Um, so yeah, but I love it because it's completely feels really unpressured and it's really different to the songwriting side of things.
Yeah, for sure. That's super cool. Are you planning on releasing the poetry collection around the same time as the album? So it's like a companion project, or do you see these as two completely different projects?
I am actually just trying to decide that at the moment because I kind of feel like it would be really nice to have it come out around the same time as the album, if I can pull it together.
Yeah, that's
Um,
amazing.
because it would be really nice to have it as an and maybe as something that people can buy as like a bundle with like the vinyl and like kind of have a sense of like where all the writing has kind of come out of. I feel like that would be a really nice thing.
Yeah, no, that'd be super cool. Are you gonna self-publish this?
Maybe. I'm gonna see if I've got a couple of people. I'm gonna see if they might be interested. But I am quite open to self-publishing and doing it myself. Um, I quite like being quite independent and in control of all the artistic aspects of my work.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. Well, I'm super excited for that as well. I forget who Kelsey Ballerini released a poetry collection, Feel My Way Through. I think that's what it's called. She's like my favorite country artist, so if I'm getting this wrong, sorry, Kelsey. But yeah, I thought that was super cool how she did that as well.
Yeah, there's a few kind of folk artists over here that definitely work on the poetry side as well. And I love that idea that you're kind of seeing another aspect of someone's writing. And I love looking at lyrics and the word aspect of people's songs. So for me, as a listener, it kind of makes sense, like to have a book with poems in and a lyric booklet and an album. It just so I like the idea of trying to pull that all together.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I'm super curious because when I do interviews, a lot of people ask me, does my like because I'm an author, I do fiction, so they're like, does your like writing and your songwriting, are there similarities? And definitely when you look at poetry, because I never really thought of lyrics as poetry, but they kind of are. They have like the rhyme, they have all the things poem has. So do you find that there are similarities for you, that you use similar skills and approaches when you're writing your lyrics and poems?
Yeah, and I think so. And obviously some of my poems have become songs, but some of them really feel like they won't ever become songs. So I think with the poetry side, there's less trying to I kind of let it be a real flow when I write poetry. Um, and not really think about having any kind of hook or anything. But I think some things, just because if you're working on both sides, there's going to be some crossover at some point, I think. And you could just take any poem and make it into a song.
Yeah, amazing. I love that so much. So, looking back on your whole journey as a songwriter so far, you have your albums, you have an EP, you're working on a new project. But from the performance side, or just another aspect of being an artist, do you have any favorite memories from your career so far?
Ooh, that's a really good question, actually. It's a good one because we often forget about the good things that we've done. I think as artists, we're
Oh,
always
for sure,
looking at the next
absolutely.
thing. So I've had a really good year actually. I was named the local associate for a big concert hall in Southampton. So I did a big full band show in the end of June there as part of their summer festival, which was amazing because it was a much larger venue than I'd normally play, and I don't normally play with a full band. It was like I had strings and pedal steel and everything. Really went to town. So that I mean that was just wonderful. Um, I've done. I played Glastonbury Festival. That was great. That was a great experience. I played on the John Peel stage on the Sunday morning to about 1,000 people who were hiding from the rain, and it was just lovely. So that was great, and I kind of got treated as well. I got like picked up from my tent in Land Rovers, and I got free massages and food and stuff.
Oh,
So it was like a real
that's so
treat way of doing a
good.
music festival, like being completely spoiled.
Aw,
So that was pretty cool.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I think for me, I love going into the studio and just seeing what happens and those magic moments. And I think that's a lot of what kind of that's a real call for me. I love the studio time when little sparks are happening and everyone's really like fueling off each other. So last summer when we did like the bulk of the recording of the new album was I had no expectations really, but from like the moment we started playing, just everyone just brought so much energy and it was just so exciting. It was amazing. Um, that kind of like when everyone's just clicking and it's all just coming together. I love moments like that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think sometimes it's the little things too. Like,
Yeah,
I've been trying
definitely.
to really enjoy the little moments and the small wins
Yeah,
along the way because those
yeah,
definitely add up. So,
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
I live on the basis of three small things: small wins, small joys, and small positive steps. So the small wins is just like even little tiny things. Sometimes it's even just something that's better than something else could have been. And the small joys is things like I love going for a coffee. I love a walk by the river. Just like little things that like make you go, oh, this is nice. And then small positive steps is just like doing little things towards what you want. So that the accumulation of it then brings you bigger stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. So, looking ahead, what is one of your biggest artist dreams that you would love to come true one day?
I'd love to come and play in the States.
Oh, yes, please come.
I think that's a pretty big one. I'd really like to do that. Play in the US, play in Canada,
Yeah,
and like do like a little tour over there. I feel like that would be really cool.
yeah. Come to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I will.
Amazing. So, just to wrap up our chat, what is one piece of advice you would love to share with any songwriters listening?
I think don't overly judge your work. Just write it and just keep going. And also remember you can turn anything into a song.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining me. Loved having you on the show. Can you please share with everybody where they can connect with you online and listen to your music?
Yeah, so if you look at Lucy Kitchen Music, that will take you through to my Instagram and TikTok and Spotify and everything. So Lucy Kitchen, kitchen is in the room.
I love it. I love your name. That's so good. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed our chat.
Yeah, me too. Listeners, that's a wrap on this conversation with Lucy. And of course, until next time, stay
Stay
right
right
on
on
track.
track.